Racgting 301 Challenger racing cockpit that currently retails for $220, and at the time of this video's release is $165. It was sent to me by Racgting to take a look at. So let's dive into it. So, a little bit of background before I actually get to tearing this thing open. Throughout the past year, I've been getting really heavy into sim racing. And recently I upgraded from a Logitech G923 to a Moza R3, the bundle for Xbox, since I mostly race on Forza. Because I don't have a computer that's powerful enough to run games like ACC or AC or other sim racing titles. And with that, I was on Reddit when I was contacted by them Racgting. I really don't want to actually try and say their name because I know I'm gonna butcher it and I don't know how it's pronounced. Racgting? Yeah. Anyways, they were looking for someone to test out, so some regular people to look at their, some of their rigs, and this is their 302 cockpit. And I'm a casual, and I already have a GT Omega Classic wheel stand, which works great for me. But I still wanted to get this, and especially that they contacted me on Reddit after posting, asking about what would fit the pedals, the SRP light pedals from Moza. And they sent me a message and said, hey, I'm looking for people to just regular people to test this. So we're gonna give this a look. So yeah, the disclaimer, they did send this to me for free. Well, I paid like $2 shipping because I used their code. They sent me a little bit too fast. It wasn't quite the correct code, but either way, they sent this to me for free. But I'm gonna give it a hard look from a casual perspective. I'm pretty sure this one, the Challenger 302, or if that's not correct, I'll correct it put it on the screen. And yeah, I'll give it a look at from a casual racer. And I will, try to not be biased because they sent it to me for free, and I didn't have to pay a penny. But I will review it as if I actually did spend $220 for it, which is a lot of money for me. The Moza R3 was an investment by itself. So, anyways, let's dive into this thing. Setting up the Challenger 301 is pretty simple and straightforward. All you do is take it out of the box, unwrap it, and really just unfold and kind of set it up. You don't need the manual or anything. It's a really simple process to get it ready and up and going. The Challenger 301 also has a lot of area for adjustment. You can modify the backrest by unscrewing and swiveling the two side screws. You can adjust the steering angle, or the angle of the steering wheel coming towards you. You can adjust the pedals and how far they are, the height of the rig, and kind of how your seating position is in the rig. And it comes with a paddle or a shifter mount or a handbrake mount that can be mounted to either side of the main bar. It can also be stored nice and easily by being folded up to its max and using the included Velcro ties by locking them in with the back, and then for the pedal set, you just flip that up and use that bar to secure it, and that's how you can put it into a nice storage position. Actually using the cockpit is pretty comfortable and fun to use, and I would recommend it to people who want to get a cheap cockpit for a pretty low torque wheelbase. I'm running the Moza R3 currently, which is only a 3.9 Nm wheelbase, so there's not much flex to be had in the amount of torque that I can put out. But I assume on much higher, say like an R12 or something, maybe even an R9, which has 9 Nm of force, it would probably not be the wheelbase for you. And for me personally, it doesn't fit my setup, because my TV is pretty high up, and this rig will definitely get you lower to the ground, and it's meant more for people who, say, are racing in a living room or somewhere remote open space, or have a monitor that can be much closer and moved specific to the rig, unlike mine. I did have another complaint as well. I am a bit of I'm on the short side of height, and there's a bar that's a support bar that you can see in the folding up that you normally tie the pedals to, which actually gets in the way of the pedals for me and makes it pretty uncomfortable. So most of the time I'm having to push in the pedals using my toes instead of the bigger base of my foot, which does make it uncomfortable for longer periods of time. This is something that is worsened when you fold it up higher, especially depending on how you want to be seated in the rig, and it has limited functions as to how tall you can actually make the wheel compared to you, which is something that for the price tag, it's something that's going to be a compromise. And I think for what you're getting, it's a very, very good product, especially for someone who's starting out. Like, say if you're running a Logitech G923 or any of their starter wheels, or something similar online like a Thrustmaster or something else, even though nowadays there's a lot more easy to get into direct drive wheelbases. But something lower than maybe a Fanatec CSL DD, so 5 Nm and below, or even maybe up to an 8 Nm max, this would probably be a good rig and option for you. But I wouldn't recommend it for anything higher than that. But for currently, as of Black Friday, for when this video is released, it being $165, it is definitely a pickup for starters. But you just have to keep in mind that depending on what your situation is in terms of your setup, like the back is actually, even though it's a much cheaper material for said cost, it is comfortable to race on and sit in. I was actually quite surprised by how comfortable it was, and the adjustability is pretty good for what you're getting for a nice cheap wireframe. I like that they included a shifter mount that unfortunately can't be adjusted besides on what side it was on, so that will always be in kind of a weird position in terms of angle. And the only thing I wish that this rig had would be you can adjust the height of the pedals a bit more. You can kind of screw out those bottom parts that are meant to seat it on the ground a little bit, but that doesn't get you very much. And again, if you're short like me, it's most likely going to be kind of uncomfortable having to push in your pedals using your toes when you probably want to be using your whole foot to do so. But overall, I would definitely recommend this for people who are starting. And there are a lot of great options, but this is definitely something that shines from the starter options. Just gotta take a look at what your whole situation and rig is like, So for me, this is something that I will probably not be using unless it changes. It seats more like a formula style seater, so it might be good for people who are starting and are playing the F1 games like F123 or F124. Overall, I think the Challenger 301 is a pretty good rig for the price that you're paying. For only $220 retail, you're gonna get what you paid for, and it's gonna be a pretty good product for starters. It has its flaws, but it's something that truly overshadows it, and overall, it's just pretty good. Only thing I'd recommend is that if you're planning on upgrading or spending more money on your rig or your setup or your wheel and wheelbase, I would definitely look at other options that are probably going to last you longer. But if you're not looking to spend all that much money and still want a nice rig to hook your setup to, the Challenger 301 from Racgting is definitely a good option. The link to the Challenger 301 from Racgting will be in the description below. And with that, thank you for watching the video. Hoping to get back into things maybe with sim racing, so we'll see how that goes. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.